Hello everyone. In this lecture, we will look at some basic CSS properties and values. In our previous lecture, we already used some basic CSS properties. Color CSS property, it sets the font color of the text. Remember, we used color and also background color property and some other properties in our previous lectures. We were using color property as like in line number 10, we have the element selector and we are using the color property and the color given is red, right? So instead of directly giving the color name, there are two other ways to give the color values. That is using hexacode and RGB values. So we'll look at that now. So in nature there are different variations of color, right? Even if we take color red, there are different variations of color red. So instead of directly mentioning the name, we can use these hexacode or RGB values to exactly pinpoint the color that we want. Okay, what is hexacode and what is RGB? Hexacode is a 6-digit code starting with hash. So let me give some sample color using hexacode. D76A53. So this is some color. This is some variation of red color. So you can Google and find out lots of different variations of hexacode and RGB values. There are different colors. You can get the actual color you want by selecting you can select the color and you can get the corresponding hexacode and RGB values. There are many websites that can provide you with these hexacode and RGB values. So you can Google it and find out. So now we are using some text color. This is a variation of red color. Let's save this and we'll go to the output. So now you can see this is not red and this is not brown, so this is some specific color. So this kind of specific color can be easily picked by using this hexacode values. This value I am using hash and then 6 digits. It's a hexacode value. There is something called RGB value. So let's give some background color for this. I am going to use some RGB values here. So it's like the RGB values, you have to write RGB and within brackets you have to get the number of the color that you have picked. So I am going to enter some number. So number will be between 0 and 255. So this is going to be some shade of pink. So I am saving this and let's go to the output. So this background color is some shade of pink. And this text color is a hexacode value that is some shade of red. So next we'll look at border property. Border property in CSS. So I'm going to use another element selector P, and for this paragraph element we are going to add some border. To add border we use border property. I think we have already used this border property. Let's understand this property better. So this border property takes three values. In the sense the first value specifies the thickness of the border. So 2 pixels. Here I want to draw a border of thickness 2 pixels. And second is the type of the border. So whether you want a dashed line border or a solid border, solid line border. So this specifies what is the type of the border. And here the third value is the color. Here we can give some hexacode value. Let me give some value. I don't know what is this color actually, but I'm just trying some color. Okay. So save this. Now we can see a border around all the paragraph element of 2 pixels thickness. So if I increase this value here, instead of 2, if I make it as 10, we can see the thickness of the border increases. It's very thick now, right? And also instead of solid, I can write something as dashed or dotted. So let me use dotted. So this will give a dotted border. Okay, now I have changed the border type to dotted. So now we are getting a dotted border instead of a solid border. Now say we do not want border on all the 4 sides of this element. We want border on top and bottom, or we want border only on left. So in that case, we can use this border property separately for each side. So instead of using border, we can use border top, left, bottom and right. So say I am using border left and I am going to use the same value. I am going to use 4 pixels thickness, solid and some color. So this is going to draw border only on the left side of the paragraph. So it's a solid border on the left side. Here, did you see here? So let's change this to border bottom. So and I'll change the color to something else. So now we can see border at the bottom of each paragraph. So you can also try using border top and border right. So there are 4 values of 4 sides, right? So top, left, bottom and right. So it takes border top, border bottom, border left and border right. So if we just use border property, it will put border on all the 4 sides. Okay. Next we'll look at some font related properties. So there is a property called font size. Font size is used to set the size of the font. So for this paragraph element, I want to increase the font size. That is the default font size is little smaller. So I want to increase the font size to 20 pixels. So I'm giving 20 pixels here. Font size is a property name and value is 20 pixels. So let's refresh this page. So now we have all the paragraph elements in a bigger font size. And we have font family. Font family is a type of the font. There are many Google font families. So we can also import a Google font into our HTML code. We'll see that later as we move on. So for now, font family, you can use this property font family, and you can give fonts like Arial, Tahoma. There are many fonts, right? Sans serif. Any font names you can give using this property. So font family Arial. So now you can see the way the font family, after changing the font family, the style in which the text is written is changed. And next we have font weight. I think we have used font weight property somewhere before. Yeah. So already in line number 2, we can see for this paragraph element, we have font weight set to 700. And I told you, remember, like this font weight property takes value from 400 to 900. 400 is light and 900 is very bold. 700 is like it's kind of medium bold. So let's change this to 400 and see how the output looks like. So now we can see the difference. It's not bold, it's light. This is the starting value. So that is font weight takes value from 400 to 900, and this is the least one. And if we give 900 here, so now we can see this font is very bold. So because we are using the value 900. At the end of this section, we'll have an assignment. And for doing that assignment, you will need all these basic CSS properties. So and that's why we went through all the basic CSS properties that are necessary. In the next lecture, we will learn about block and inline elements. Thank you.